Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more videos. So today we'll be talking about how and why I got into medicine. So first of all, why I got into medicine. It might not be the reason most people have, but for me it carried me through. Okay, so when I was a child I was always ending up at the ER. Okay, I had car accident in class 1, had an accident with a freezer in class 5, I got burnt by hot water in class 6. It was just a series of events, and I was always at the ER, as I was saying. But you could always tell the difference between a pediatrician and a general practitioner. The pediatricians were really caring, calm, reassuring, and the general practitioners were, Harry, you'll be fine, let's just give this medication, okay, next person. And I'm like, people don't care about me. No, I want the pediatrician. I want the one who likes the kids and gives us candy, reassures us, and I had this mindset all through that. Yes, I was going to be a pediatrician because I had to help other people, and yes, I could do it, and I could help other kids and make life very comfortable for them. And then I met a lady at church who was a pastor, a pediatrician, and a really lovely lady. And I was like, that's it. It's been cemented, it's been ordained. I am going to be a pediatrician. So now let's go. And I was really excited about it. Well, currently I can say I am, but then I was really excited about it, right? So I get to high school. I went to St. John's College, the Wadi in the Fiji Islands. Over Lau Island, Levuka was where the school was, right? And fortunately for me, I was a science student, meaning we just did 5 courses. I was math, English, biology, chemistry, physics. Now I loved chemistry, English, and biology, and I hated math and physics. Oh my goodness, there was nothing you could tell me for me to be convinced otherwise. I know how a lot of science students love math and physics, but that wasn't me. I didn't like them. And it didn't help that my teachers were married to each other, my math and physics teacher. They were married to each other. So every time we called a parents teacher conference, they were always on my head. Like, we'll go to like chemistry and my teacher is singing my praises, like, oh, Linda is smart, Linda loves work, Linda is hardworking, blah blah blah. And then we get to math and physics, and they go, she could try a bit harder, she put in much effort, and I'm putting in the effort. I just hated math and physics so much. Like, no one could tell me nothing. My dad tried convincing me, teaching me. He did his best. Like, I clapped for him because the man did his best, but I just didn't like it. Then I did my foundation science at the University of South Pacific in the Fiji Islands as well, right? Well, Suva, which is the capital. That's where the school is. And I did chemistry, math, biology, English, and physics again. So now this time, I dropped math. Okay, I dropped math, and I didn't tell my dad about it. He found out later when the results came in, and they had me do math for my summer. Okay, I stayed during summer to catch up on the math that I dropped. Can you imagine? It's I still didn't like it. I still did not like math, and I still do not like it. So yeah, I it's just, when I look back and think about it, it's just really funny. But yeah, those are the courses I did, and um, I think in all parts of the world, to be a medical doctor, you need to do science because they are the foundation on which you'll build the other things you would learn, okay, in medical school. So for medical school, I went to Ukraine. Fiji Islands had a medical school, Fiji National University, just another Fiji National University, FNU, and it was the only medical school around for a lot of the other islands, like Vanuatu, Tonga, Cook Island, Nauru. So it was really competitive to get in, and they didn't take a lot of people. And so I applied to other places: Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, Poland, and Ukraine. Ukraine was chosen at the end of the day because there were other family friends that were going there, so it was highly recommended that I go there so I wasn't alone in a foreign land. And I think it was a good idea. Initially, I hated the idea because I wanted to be closer to home, and I was excited. Like, okay, I got into these other universities I really like. I don't know why I should go all the way to Eastern Europe. You get what I'm saying? But it was fun because at the end of the day, I made lifelong friends, and I'm really really glad that was a decision my parents took, and that I obeyed them because I don't regret it now. Okay, so I got into Ukraine, and it wasn't straightforward because now you in Ukraine when you arrive, you have to do PATFAC, which is the language course for a year. Now I didn't do that. I don't like languages either, so I didn't do that. I went straight into the English medium and just started. So you do part of the language as you study the course in English. So I went for that option, and it's a 6 years course. So I did that. In other countries, I think some parts of Africa as well, we just don't have a lot of medical schools, and a lot of people want to grow up to be doctors. So I don't see anything wrong with it if you would go outside to do it. There are a lot of countries in Eastern Europe that offer entrances into medical schools, and the pays are relatively cheaper and better, and you learn the same things. The only downside is once you're done, most often people are not going to stay to practice in that country. So I, for instance, didn't stay in Ukraine to practice. So I came to Ghana to practice. In Ghana, you would have to write the Medical and Dental Council examination and pass before you can start practicing. And sometimes a lot of people don't get it on the first try. They would have to write it maybe once, twice, 3 times. It depends on the individual. Okay, and it's not a straight it's not a straightforward exam that you might be used to from where you're coming from. In Ukraine, our exams were all viva. You would just sit in front of your examiner, pick up a question card, read through it for a minute, and then start answering the questions. In Ghana, the Medical and Dental Council, the examinations, you would have to read the multiple choice questions, then do the written, and then the survivor. I'm hearing they're going to change it soon. I don't know how soon that will be, but that was the procedure I went through. Okay, and then you have to wait for like a month or two, wait for your results. Then when you get your results, you have to wait. If you passed, you have to wait for about like 6 months before you start working. Okay. Okay. So what I realized from answering questions for people is that there are a lot of countries where they do not have enough medical schools, especially like in the islands and in Ghana and in other African countries. So people tend to want to go outside to different countries. And there are pros and cons. Most of these countries have private universities for medical students. These private universities are really expensive, really, really expensive. And compared to going to these other countries outside, like the Caribbeans, the Eastern Europe, which offer the same medical studies but at a cheaper rate, I would, well, as I was saying, there are pros and cons. Okay, so these other countries are relatively cheaper than the private universities in your country. But then the private universities in your country, once you are done and you know that's what you're going to practice, it's easier. You just start practicing. Whereas if you go outside the country, you would have to write the licensing exams for the country you want to practice in when you arrive. So that makes it more difficult because you're going to spend more money for the examinations. It's going to take much of your time, and it can be emotionally draining and emotionally stressful because you are not always going to get it on the first try. By God's grace, I was able to, but I've had friends that had to do it twice and 3 times, and sometimes it can be really, really emotionally draining. Yeah. So when you go outside the country, you also are able to grow as an individual because you meet people from different cultures and you learn how to grow up because you're also most of the time left alone to fend for yourself. And these countries have their medical courses for like 6 years. So it helps you grow up. So I would definitely recommend someone to go outside if they ask me, because that was a route that I took and it really helped me as an individual, and it also helped me make friends from all over the world. And it's been a really, really interesting journey and made my medical school journey really fun. I know, because people go to medical school and are stressed, like they're really stressed. It's stressful, I'm not going to lie, but depending on the people and the environment you go through it, you would find it a bit peaceful. I think that prac- going to medical school outside made the journey a bit easier for me than the average person. That's just my humble opinion. So yeah. So after medical school, I was still excited about what the journey had to offer because I was the type of person that thought being, as I said, a pediatrician, you just go sit at the ER or the OPD, and then they'll bring in the kids, and then you say, "Oh, how are you doing?" and play with them like, "Oh, can I listen to your heartbeat?" and then you just go in and, "Oh, you little cutie," this, that, and then you're done. But that was a lie. That was a lie the entire time. Okay, like house job showed me that medicine, ooh, practical medicine is different from theoretical medicine. Okay, in theory, everything seems straightforward, and there's pump, 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 and then you do this, you see this science, and then you do this. But when you come to the field, okay, number one, depending on which part of the world you find yourself, you're not going to have all the resources all the time. So yes, you need to do an x-ray to confirm this, you need to do an ultrasound to confirm this, but they don't have money to do it. So what are you going to do? So it's different. It's interesting, but it's really tiring. It takes a lot of mental space. You would go home and just be thinking about your patient. You would This has literally happened to me. I was in the shower and then just shouted, "Damn, I should have done this and this and this instead of this and this and this for the patient." I was like, is this really the life I have chosen for myself? To be preoccupied by someone else. Like it medicine. Oh my goodness. But yeah. I at this point I can't say I regret it, but yo, I don't know, bruh. But I know it gets better with time. I still want to be a pediatrician, but I'm more into neonatology, so a neonatologist, and I really enjoyed that. And so yeah, welcome to my channel again. And if you're ever considering doing medicine, I would tell you to go for it, but I'll also let you know that it shouldn't just be because you think it pays. So, in conclusion, I think medicine is a really, really beautiful field to be in, but I would like to encourage you to really not go into medicine because you think it has the pay is good, because in our part of the world the pay isn't good. So it has to be because you love the job, because you end up sacrificing a lot of your time for your family, for your friends, for your events, and a lot of your mental health for your patients, and to see them do well. And the reward will just be a lot of God bless yous and thank yous. And you might be disappointed if it's not really what you wanted to do with your life. Also, it's not always a straightforward cut. If you really want to do medicine and you don't get in through your first options, there are always different steps you could take to get into medicine. You shouldn't give up on what you want to do just because you think you are not smart enough and you couldn't get into the first university you wanted. There are always other options, and you should always try them. Life is not a straight road, and taking different routes to get to the same place also works. And yeah, so as I said, my channel is going to be about life and medicine, and now you know why I chose medicine. Because I loved it, and because I have a passion for it. And will I choose it again? Yes. Would I encourage you to go into it? Only if you have the passion for it. So yeah, until next time, stay safe. See you. Bye.